was getting hard for me to stay, wishing that it ended differently. Now that we're done, I still think about you. Staring at my phone like every night, wishing you would text me one more time. Like, how's your day? Mine was good, I miss you. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. It's been a couple weeks, can't get you off my mind. I still wear your bracelet, it reminds me of the time we drove out to the store in the middle of the night. I miss all the little things we did to pass the time. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. We saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. And I think that I'm still in love. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me and I think that I'm still in love. It was getting hard for me to stay, wishing that it ended differently. Now that we're done, I still think about you. Staring at my phone like every night, wishing you would text me one more time. Like, how's your day? Mine was good, I miss you. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. It's been a couple weeks, can't get you off my mind. I still wear your bracelet, it reminds me of the time we drove out to the store in the middle of the night. I miss all the little things we did to pass the time. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me and I fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. It was getting hard for me to stay, wishing that it ended differently. Now that we're done, I still think about you. Staring at my phone like every night, wishing you would text me one more time. Like, how's your day? Mine was good, I miss you. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. It's been a couple weeks, can't get you off my mind. I still wear your bracelet, it reminds me of the time we drove out to the store in the middle of the night. I miss all the little things we did to pass the time. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. We saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. And I think that I'm still in love. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. It was getting hard for me to stay, wishing that it ended differently. Now that we're done, I still think about you. Staring at my phone like every night, wishing you would text me one more time. Like, how's your day? Mine was good, I miss you. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. It's been a couple weeks, can't get you off my mind. I still wear your bracelet, it reminds me of the time we drove out to the store in the middle of the night. I miss all the little things we did to pass the time. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney. At midnight you kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. It was getting hard for me to stay, wishing that it ended differently. Now that we're done, I still think about you. Staring at my phone like every night, wishing you would text me one more time. Like, how's your day? Mine was good, I miss you. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney. At midnight you kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. It's been a couple weeks, can't get you off my mind. I still wear your bracelet, it reminds me of the time we drove out to the store in the middle of the night. I miss all the little things we did to pass the time. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney. At midnight you kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. We saw fireworks at Disney. At midnight you kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. And I think that I'm still in love. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney. At midnight you kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. It was getting hard for me to stay, wishing that it ended differently. Now that we're done, I still think about you. Staring at my phone like every night, wishing you would text me one more time. Like, how's your day? Mine was good, I miss you. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney. At midnight you kissed me, and I think that I'm still in love. I'm still in love. I'm still in love. It's been a couple weeks, can't get you off my mind.